Hello, in this video we're going to practice adding and subtracting fractions where they have different denominators. So I have this example set up right here. And remember, we had a rule about adding fractions. And the rule was that if you had a over b plus c over b, then you would just add the numerators together and then divide by, and you would just leave the denominator alone. But this only works when they have the same denominator. Well, if they have different denominators, we can't add them like we just did here. You just can't add the numerators. The reason that this is the way that I like to remember it, is that when you have denominators, if you're familiar with like miles per hour, like say someone's traveling 46 miles per hour, hours, that's your denominator. Okay, you can write it like this: miles per hour if you want. So that's the denominator. And are you allowed to could you add 46 miles an hour plus 10 miles per minute? No. If you did 47 miles per minute, you can't just add these two together because they have different denominators. Okay? Same thing, like you can't just add feet and yards together. You have to convert. So that's really what we're doing. We're going to convert these fractions so that they have the same denominator. So the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out what is the LCM of 10 and 6, because that's what our denominator is going to be. So what you would do is, if you're not sure what this is, you would start with multiples of 10, so like 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on, and then do multiples of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and so on. Well, there you go. We found our first. Remember, LCM stands for least common multiple. It's the number that they both have in common, and the L stands for the smallest one. So my new denominator is going to be 30. So how am I going to do this? So you come over here, and you'd write 3 over 10. You'd write equals, and then you'd write a new fraction where it has the new denominator now. So now what I have to do is I have to figure out what my numerator is going to be. Well, what do you have to multiply to 10 to get to 30? In other words, 10 times what is 30? Well, that's 3. Okay, well, if I'm going to multiply the bottom by 3, what do I have to do to the top? Also have to multiply it by 3. So now this is going to be 9. All right, let me use the same color here. Okay, so now 3 over 10 is really 9 over 30. Okay, how about my next fraction? How about 5/6? Well, I know that my new denominator now has to be 30. And 6 times what is 30? Well, I'm going to have to multiply by 5, right? That's how I go from 6 to 30. Okay, so then let's multiply the top by 5. 5 times 5, that's 25. So 5 over 6 is really 25 over 30. So then what we're going to do is we come back up to our original problem, and we just rewrite it. 3 over 10 is really 9 over 30. And 5 over 6 is really 25 over 30. Now we just add them together. And we're going to get 34 over 30. Because I added 9 and 25 to get 34. So let's go ahead and try another example. In this example, we're going to do 3 over 8 minus 1 over 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom. We're going to write our fractions out. Okay. So 3 over 8 and 1 over 16. Okay. And now we have to figure out what is our common denominator. So what is our LCM, the least common multiple of 8 and 16? Well, the common multiples of 8 are 8, 16, and 24, and so on. So actually 16 is our common denominator. Okay. So now 16 times what is 16? Well, 1, right? 16 times 1 is 16. So I just have to multiply the top by 1. 1 times 1 is just 1. So this fraction does not change. Do this. Okay, well how about 8 to 16? Well, I'm going to have to multiply by 2. So I'll multiply the top by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. So 6 out of 16. So my new fractions, 3 over 8, is really 6 over 16. And 1 out of 16 is really still just 1 out of 16. But now I have the same denominators. So when you subtract them, you'll get 5 over 16.